You can do all the right things in the workshop and still feel like you're not getting ahead. You feel like the work is never ending, but the profit isn't actually where you want it to be. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 things that will make your garage 1, more profitable, and 2, more predictable day to day. I'm Mickey, and these are the lessons that I've learned from 10 years of working with thousands of garages, running garages myself. So the most important thing to remember when you're systemizing your business is to get a GMS. Now I'll be showing you today through our GDS, just to show you exactly how to maximize your business. So step 1, get every job that your workshop does into your system. So it's actually astounding how many businesses don't know what they've got coming in day to day. Examples of this might be your mate rings up and says, oh yeah, just bring it down. You're the only one aware of that. Your front of house doesn't know, the technicians don't know, or you've just got people turning up and you said come down next week. You need to have everything that's coming in your GMS so that we know what's coming in every day. The front of house does, the technicians know what they're in there and how many hours you've got booked out that day. So starting with your booking, first things first, you want to be getting as much information as you possibly can. The customer names, phone numbers, email addresses if you can. The vehicle details, you'll be able to find what you're doing on that job. This all needs to go into your booking. Now that will follow on when you then have the job card for the technician. They'll have everything that they need to do that work from that job card. If you're getting this wrong, you're setting your whole system up to fail. So it's really important that you get this first step right. So once your booking is created with all of the information in there that you require, the next step is your job cards. So this is what the technician's going to be running off. Now, they'll be able to see what bookings they've got in for the day, what vehicle's in, MOT history, MOT dates, tax dates, the parts that are required on that job, the labour they're doing, how long they've got to do that job, everything that they're going to require to complete that job. So we'll show you how that looks in the system. So let's get into it. We're going to go straight from bookings into job cards and show you exactly the process that I would follow. So first things first, putting the booking into the diary. So I'm going to book in on Phil an hour's worth on here. So I'm going to drag and drop, open that up, and that'll give me the appointment I can then book into. So at this point, I can then add in either a customer name or a vehicle registration on here. So I'm going to use one I've used previously. And what that'll do is that'll bring up the vehicle if it's in your system already, and then the associated customer as well. So I can select that and that puts that into the booking. Now we can then add in some job notes here if we need to, some additional, this might be MOT and service, and that's then booking created if I hit create. So that's now in your calendar. That's now there. We know who's doing the work. We know what's being done on there. We can see that on the diary here and we see how long it's booked for. Following on from that is your job cards. So within our booking, we can then create the job cards where everyone knows exactly what's being done on this job. So if I hit add new job sheet, this will then bring up my job cards create. In here, I can see the vehicle, I can see the customer, I can see the assigned mechanic. I can also add in my mileages as a technician later on. From here, we can then build our job cards. So we can click onto parts or labor or packages if we've got those set up. We'll follow that up later. In here, I might do a minor service and I might also select an MOT. Once I've selected the package that I want, I can add the selected and that adds into my job card. So we can see here now my MOT at 54.85. I can see my minor service with my labor and my parts that are required for that job. So our technicians will know exactly what they need to pick. Once we've added that on there, we can hit add and that will then drop into the job cards on the left-hand side. So in here, we can then start to see all of the jobs that we've got available to do, all the jobs that are being worked on. We can see all the jobs that are waiting for parts we need to follow up on, anything that's on hold that potentially might need a customer contact, and anything that's been completed. So as a technician, I'm able to open up these job cards to see exactly what I need to see on there. So if I click into a job card, as a technician, you can see what's on there, parts, labour, what we're doing, who it's assigned to. I can fill this out. So I put my mileage in. I can also add notes on here if I need to as well. So if there's any advisories from MOTs, if there's anything we need to make the customer aware of, we're able to add those notes in here too. Click to add note, add a note title, and then add in your note that you need to do on there. So it might be suspension arms, bushes, one. Add my note and that'll add onto the job card. That way everyone can see that information. It's not being lost. It's not being scribbled down on a bit of paper that's then been covered in oil or chucked in the bin. Everything is in there. I can go in from the front of house. The technician go in and view it. I can go down in 6 months' time and view this and see what was advised previously. This is the exact visibility you need to be able to run a garage. So if we've got that step right, that is everything in your business, because this then follows through into your accounts, into invoicing, into your MOT and service reminders going forward. When we have created a correct job card, I can click onto the vehicle, for example, and I can see my reminders, my MOT reminders on there that will automatically be sent out in the background of your system. We can also also see the MOT history on the back of that as well. So we have all the information on previous tests. All this information is stored against this vehicle in the system, against the customer forever. So the next flow is moving it across to invoiced. So with this, I have my vehicle here, my job card. All I have to do is drag that into the completed column and I can invoice it. If everything is on that job sheet already, I don't have to sit there and type it all out at the end of the day. It's all on that job sheet. I drag it to completed, hit yes, and my invoice is done. So once it's invoiced, obviously the next bit is paying it off. I see with GDS, we have Garage Pay, where we can send a quick link to a customer to send by text. They can pay it before they even arrive at the garage, so that all they're doing is coming in, grabbing the invoice, going again. Additionally, once you've done your invoice and made the payment, you can then sync all this with your accounting software, with QuickBooks, with Sage, with Xero. So they'll automatically send all of your invoices over there, so you're not having to double enter those into an accounting software. It makes life 100 times easier. So if you get that first step right, what we'll be able to do is that'll then sync in with all of the rest of your business, from your reminders, your invoicing, your accounts package, your payments, all in one. Step 2, hand the timing over to GDS. Every job in your workshop has different timing. This needs to be handled by either the diary or by Haynes Pro within GDS. You have your fixed stuff, you have servicing, you have MOTs, aircon regas, stuff that takes the same duration every time. This is what's going to go into your diary. Okay, make sure they're blocked out for the right timings and make sure that everything is planned out for the day. The second thing is your non-fixed stuff. So you say brakes, exhausts, clutches, where they're different durations each time. Now this is handled very simply within GDS by using Haynes Pro to give you your recommended times based off of dealer times. Now in your job cards and your bookings, you're able to look up through Haynes Pro at the top of the page on the job card. So if I go into Haynes Pro, look up SMR, that will give me all the repair times that the dealers recommend on here. So I might do clutch on this vehicle. So it's a dual clutch. If I click onto it, remove and refit the clutch assembly, it will tell me straight away 4.9 hours to do this job. This makes life so much easier. Rather than guessing and saying, oh, it's going to be 3 hours, and actually it's taken 5, you can get specific timings and go from there. Now, my recommendation for this as well is always add a little bit extra on. These times they're given here are based on dealer times for brand new vehicles. They've just come off the floor and not seen a seized bolt or an ounce of rust in its life. I would always add on additional timings for this. So the matrix that I work off when adding time onto these is based on the age of the vehicle. So 0 to 3 years, I'd add 10%. 3 to 5, I'd add 20%. 5 to 7, 30%. 7 to 9, 40%. Anything that's over 10 years, add 50% time on. This just gives you your buffer if there is any snags or things that seize or anything like that. So once you've selected the job you're doing, add it to your job sheet, and that'll automatically add onto the job sheet with the description, the timing required, and obviously your labour price. So this is fundamental for a garage to have within their day-to-day, because what you need to know is how many hours have you got booked in? How many hours are you due to invoice out that day? How many hours have you got spare that you can fit extra work in, remedial work, walk-ins that potentially are not planned for the day? If I was going to do anything to systemize my business, this would be it. So after those first 2 steps, you're already on the way to making a profitable business. Now there's 3 more steps to go through to help systemize your business to its maximum. Step 3, build your packages within GDS. This is the one that most people picture when they picture systemizing a business. Now, what I would recommend is every single labor you do, whether it's fixed price or fixed duration, is set it up as a package within GDS. This way, it all goes down. It's all the same every time. There's no changing in pricing. I used to have it when I had 2 service advisors. One person would charge one thing, one person would charge another. What I need consistency on my pricing, consistent profit, and consistent timings on there as well. We have packages within our stock section on the left-hand side. Now you'll see that I've got many set up already, but what we have here, say the minor service, is within this I have a labour charge. So this is my labour for the service. So there's an hour for a minor service. For a major service, I might have 2 hours. And obviously the pricing, you're going to be setting that at as well. We then have our recurring products on there as well. So for servicing, it'll be filters, oil, some plugs and that kind of thing. Now this can be done with any job, whether it's a brake fluid change. You could put the brake fluid and the label on there. You could do aircon. You have your aircon timing and your aircon gas. So everything is all set up, ready to go. So when you're building your job cards and your bookings, bookings, what you do is go on service, MOT, aircon regas, everything goes on consistently, same pricing, same products. You speed up your time doing your bookings and you have consistent pricing and profitability on there. That is exactly what you want day to day. So step 4, assign the work in GDS. So I will always assign my work to my technicians at point of booking. What this will allow me to do is see exactly what I've got booked in and exactly what space I've got for specific jobs. Each of your technicians will have a specific skill set. So whether they're MOT testers, whether they're diagnostic technicians, whether they're service techs, whether they're apprentices. What you want to be able to see is when you go to take a booking and you look at your calendar, you want to know, actually, I've got 3 hours of diagnostics I can book in there. Otherwise, you might be booking diagnostic work in and actually you haven't got the time to do it. You've already got 8 hours booked in that day. You can't see that unless it's allocated to the specific technicians. So off the back of that, this also has a knock-on effect for your technicians as well. Because instead of them coming in the morning and thinking, what am I doing today? What jobs have I got? They can open up their GDS system and they can see, right, I have these 4 jobs booked in today. This job's coming at 9, this job's coming at 12, this job's coming at 2 o'clock. They've got the plan for the day. They can see exactly what they've got to do. They can get the parts for those jobs and they can crack on and do them instead of waiting around for someone to tell them what to do. So the worst thing being a business owner is seeing a technician waiting around for work or being told what to do. They need to have a plan of action so you can get as much out of them as possible day to day. So the last thing you want to see is a technician looking busy and not actually earning you hours. So step 5, let GDS show you what to improve. So now that you've got those first 4 steps down, you've put all the information in you need, everything is in there, all your hours are in there. What you can then do is out the back of the system is look at your reporting. Now for me, when I was running garages, I would always look at 4 or 5 reports. So I'd be looking at my profitability. So parts profits, I'd be looking at my daily profit. I used to have a figure that I needed to hit every day that allowed me to open the doors basically. So I had a daily check on that and see, have we hit our target today? I'd be checking MOTs that have been booked, the failures on that. I'd be checking my hours that have been sold for the day, the week and the month. Again, I had a certain amount of hours I needed to sell to hit that 80%. Additionally, I'd also look at my average labour sale because you don't always get your full labour rate when you're selling a job. With servicing, for example, you might have £100 worth of labour on there, but it's 2 hours worth of work. So actually your return on that is only £50 an hour. Now, obviously, we know that our labour rate is predicted on what we need to open the doors, to keep the doors open, what our overheads are, what our costs are. This will always contribute to your labour rate. So if you're checking this weekly, monthly, you can keep on top of anything that's drifting. So if there's something that's below what you're expecting, you can then action that. You can attack it and say, right, what do I need to do to change this? If we keep it on top of everything, then we can always keep our business profitable. So commonplace, I've been to thousands of garages. A lot of people do not check these stats, these figures. What they look at is they'll look at their bank account, say, is there money in it? And that's the least that they're going to do. They don't then look at forecasting. They don't look at what's going to happen for the rest of the year, when they're busy, when they're quiet, what they need to do to retain that profitability and recurring revenue going forward. But actually, if they did all the steps you've seen in this video, they could be one of the top 1% garages in the country. So systemizing your workshop is not just about organizing your day to day. It's about maximizing your return, maximizing your profitability day to day. So if you'd like to see more about the system we've used today to run through this and book a demo, please click the link in the description. Also, if you'd like to find out more about garage management systems and the 5 pillars that it runs through, there's a video on screen now.